the butterfly's transformation. The first stage is a stage of where they mate. They kind of have a mating dance. And they mate, and they find just the right leaf to lay their eggs. And when they lay their eggs, these eggs are there, and when they hatch, this leaf is there to support the next stage of development. So she already had my attention. The next stage, of course, now is the caterpillar. And we know what the caterpillar does. It's kind of like the galloping gourmet of nature. It eats and eats and eats and eats and eats and eats. And actually what most people don't know is that it sheds its skin 5 times. It lets go of what it no longer needs 5 times. And the process is not called molting. It's called instar. So I love that. I said, I want to be an instar. This is good. This is a good thing. INSTAR. Instar.
It's better than OnStar.
It's better than OnStar. It's instar. Or maybe, I don't know. But anyway, so then, okay, now it sheds its skin 5 times, and then it forms a chrysalis, you know, the silken covering around it. And inside, she says, it literally has a complete breakdown. And then she went back and she said, but what most people don't know is the secret of transformation. Now, in the scientific world, it's not a secret. But most of us, and I even was at the botanical gardens here, and they do not teach it. They don't teach it to the kids, and they don't have it out there. What transforms the caterpillar into the beautiful butterfly it becomes are special cells called imaginal discs. That's what Diana said to me. Imaginal discs contain all the seeds of change. Immediately I said to her, I want to go out and buy some. I like that name. Imaginal discs, I can go for that. And she said, those discs are lying dormant inside the caterpillar. And what happens is inside that chrysalis, it literally has a breakdown. It becomes gooey and soupy. And it's only at the part of the breakdown are these seeds of change release that transforms the caterpillar into the gooey soup, into the beautiful butterfly that it becomes. Well, I took all of this in, of course, and being a metaphor person and having to teach pretty soon a group on healing at a large conference, I immediately saw the 4 stages as how we develop. That there's first stage, and it's all on your handouts here. The first stage is new beginnings. That first stage, that mating stage, is like new beginnings. But that safe leaf, you ask yourself, do I feel safe? Do I feel safe where I'm sharing new ideas? Is this a safe place for me to become creative? Is this a safe place for myself or my business? You see, it can translate. What kind of environment are you creating in your workplace or within your personal life? This is very, very important so that new ideas have an opportunity to develop. The next stage, of course, is the caterpillar. And I talk about that as gathering information. If you look at my office, you would definitely, Carol knows, she's been in my house. We're talking lots of piles of stuff, okay? Well, I gather information. That's the way I like to work. So I gather this information, and this is a time where it's also a time where you might kind of have what I call it itchy feelings, like inner itchings, like you know it's time to change. You know that inside it's time to change. Maybe it's a personal relationship. Maybe it's something in your business. Whatever it is, you know if there's something that's time to change. This is the caterpillar stage. You want to honor that stage. You want to look at that. You want to say to yourself, how is that relevant in my personal life or my business? And then we have our dark spaces. The dark spaces of change, the things we have to confront. Certainly right now in life, lots of people are being challenged, whether it's physical illnesses, whether it's the business and financial issues, whether it's wanting to change a relationship. There's a lot of dark spaces that sometimes we get into, all of us as human beings. I know I sure have, and I do. It's part of life. But I don't look at it as depression. I look at it as a time where I'm in a chrysalis. Because inside that chrysalis, something's going to happen. Now what's interesting is we all have imaginal discs. Remember, that's the seeds of change. So I want you to think to yourself right now, what are your gifts? What do you bring to the table? Who are you? What do you love? What is your passion? And maybe some of you want to answer. What are some things that you love to do? And I'll kind of show you how this works. What's some things that you guys like to do?
Travel.
Travel, okay?
I like to sew.
Okay, travel, sew.
I love connecting people.
Connecting people, okay?
I love to hike and find petroglyphs, like just find them, you know,
Okay.
stumble over them.
Okay, so these are things that you would want to hold on to. It sounds funny. It sounds like, oh, this isn't important. But when you are going through your times of change, this is where you want to pay attention. Because those are going to be the seeds that are going to develop to help you through the dark or unknown spaces. I call it also a great time of not knowing. So a lot of times we think we have to know more. But oftentimes what happens is we really have to connect with what brings us passion and joy. That's going to transform the dark space, the caterpillar, the gooey soup, the not knowing into a time where you can then redevelop and grow with full winged potential. And what happens then inside that chrysalis, remember the breakdown? We have to let go of limiting belief systems. All the limiting belief systems that hold us back in life, that hold us back in our times. You know, I'm going to be 66, and I know a lot of times people say, how are you kind of, I'm always reinventing something or repurposing or redoing or whatever. As I say, my mind's like popcorn, and it's always popping with ideas. And so how do you keep reinventing? Even my kid said to me, Mom, when are you going to stop, like, doing new things? And he just said this to me a couple of weeks ago, and I said to him, I don't think it's going to happen. You just have to get used to your mom, because this is the way I am, you know? And this is something that we look at and we say to ourselves, how do we do this? Well, the ecology of transformation, the butterfly, is a teacher, and there is a science and there is a spirit. And this science about imaginal discs, they contain all those seeds of change. And so when you hold on to what's good, let's say we were talking a little bit before about your company, you want to hold on, of course, and you probably do, to all the gifts that each person brings in that company. So that is what's going to keep that company growing and transforming to the kind of company, and really what Tony Shea said over at Big E-Women Conference, he talked about it as culture. And that's kind of the way we talk about it, not as companies, but we have a culture. So that how do we transform our culture? And the full winged potential is that, what is your purpose? You know, think about what a butterfly does. When a butterfly is fully formed, it pollinates. It goes from flower to flower, and it continues the growth in many different ways. So oftentimes what happens is we forget that. We think to ourselves, I have to get the bottom line.
I'm so sorry.
But it isn't the bottom line, it's the heart line. The bottom line is what comes with a good connection to our heart line. So as we work towards this, we look and see, what does that ecology mean? It's a bigger vision and it's a bigger perspective on how we look at our life. Yet, it's very personal. So, for example, we go through our personal development, and that's where it starts, our microcosm inside of us. And I know I go through new beginnings, always starting something new. And I want you to ask yourself, you know, what are some of the things that you need to have around you when you come up with a new idea? Is it safe for you to share that idea with someone in your company? Are you providing that arena for people to grow? Also in your family, you know, in your personal lives, in your family. How safe is it to say, I've got this great idea, and not have someone say, you know, it's not going to work? You know, look at